Does the bear go in the woods? Okay. Yes, it does need fixing. I apologize for being so flippant, right?
Flippancy is appreciated on this show, Mike Pratt. Truly it is. What Mike's talking about are some huge rule changes coming up in college basketball. We're going to be talking about that on today's show as we come to you from one of 3 Tim French Superstore locations. Daryl Bird, I ask you, what is your word of the week?
Believe it or not, my word of the week is harmony. We have searched long and hard. We have found a topic John Calipari and Rick Pitino agree on. Harmony.
Oh,
man. Might be.
Okay. And Howie, tell me what your word of the week is.
Word of the week is USA.
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 Hey, we're patriotic. Now? Yeah, Montrezl Harrell, Team USA.
All right, we're coming to you from Tim French Superstores, one of 3 locations here in Hardin County. The E-Town location is under construction. It'll be open soon with a full lineup of cars, but already you can go there and shop now. The building is under construction, but cars are on the lot and they're being sold right now. If you want to check out the inventory at all their lots, go to 351auto.com. All right, a lot to talk about this week on the Red and Blue Review, starting with the lightning round. This portion of the Red and Blue Review is brought to you by the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety. Reminder to you, here this summer, you are sharing the road with motorcycles. Well, if Kentucky is going to rebound from their bad season last year, they've got to find some leadership this year, and they may have it in Julius Randle.
Julius Randle, truly a hard worker who can play multiple positions, who can play inside and out. You know, it's true. He's a beast. He's an alpha beast who will drive the team. Has a little bit of Michael in him in a different way. In my mind, there are good players out there. He's as good as any of them.
Yeah, I was really torn here. Do I comment or do I just shut up and let some of these highlights roll?
I always vote you shut up.
Yeah, I agree. You got to stop and remind yourself as you watch some of this stuff. This is a 6'9" power forward making some of these moves. Very adept with the ball, left-hander, which is going to be interesting to watch. And he has that attitude that was so sorely missing last year, and everybody knew it. You could tell from watching. He has the intensity to make everybody play harder, but he has the personality to kind of laugh and joke and keep it very loose. And he's barely onto campus. I mean, going through some individual stuff, and he's already clearly going to be the leader of next year's team.
Now, obviously, Kentucky didn't get the Wiggins kid. He went to Kansas. Is Randall as good? I've heard some people say he may even be better than Wiggins.
Yeah, I've heard a big debate on who's better, those two. And if you're splitting hairs at that point, that's not a bad place to be.
Yeah.
He's good.
Well, who's hot for the University of Louisville? Hot, the big man on their campus is Montrezl Harrell. Made the under-19 USA team. And between the workouts he's getting there and what he's getting at Louisville, this kid is going to be really good.
Every day we go in the gym, you're going to battle against somebody. Whatever position you play, that's who you're going to battle against. Like I said, we got a lot of key pieces that's there, that's still on our team. Kevin West, he's working real hard right now to come back for a full recovery, but we still have Luke, Wayne, Shane still here. We have a lot of good pieces that's still on our team.
Here's the crazy thing about this. This is the under-19 team. Next time you see Montrezl Harrell on tape, take a look at your own teenagers and think, that's an 18-year-old. I mean, his physical development is absolutely unbelievable. He's absolute monster, and he's got a 7'4.5" wingspan. I mean, he's not that tall, but he's got those humongously long arms, and that helps with rebounding. He's so tenacious. Rick Pitino says he's not going to have a sophomore slump at all because he works so hard.
Well, as you might have heard, Kyle Wiltshire looked around the upcoming UK basketball roster and couldn't see how he was going to find any playing time, or at least enough playing time. So it appears he's going to transfer, and whether he stays at Kentucky or goes somewhere else, Kyle says this kid's got a lot of work to do.
Kyle Wiltshire, body's got to change. 6th man of the year has to get better physically. We all know what his skill set is. He has to take his defense and all those areas of his game to another level, which I think he will. My hope is he makes the national team, Canadian national team, and it takes his game to another level.
This is probably the least surprising, least impactful transfer of someone who you think of as being a notable player on your team. He can hit the spot-up three-pointer, and that is something that's a gap that's going to have to be filled by somebody on this roster. But the deficiencies on defense and so many other areas. And you're right, you look at the roster, it's like, how am I even going to get on the court?
Yeah.
I can go somewhere else, get more playing time, maybe develop, get better and better playing the game somewhere else. I think to me, it's just a matter of time before he goes.
The baseball season is over for the University of Louisville, but that doesn't mean the work is done for Dan McDonald and team. They're trying to figure out which of the current players are going pro, which of the incoming players are going pro, and they're already trying to recruit into 2014.
Yeah, we don't get a break. Yeah. I'm always jealous of Patino because I think he gets to go to Miami or wherever for a week or so. We got the draft. We got about 6-7 kids drafted. We got to sit down and talk. We have camp, 2 big weeks of camp coming up, and recruiting never ends. And this is a huge recruiting time for us. So we'll get back to the road and make sure that the future is bright. And the future, as I always believe in coaching, it'll be here before you know it. So you better prepare for it.
Any notion that that baseball coaches get some kind of a vacation is absolutely busted. Those guys, I really feel for them because right before their essential Sweet 16, they get guys on their team drafted. And so they've got to deal with like negotiations and agents coming in and all this other kind of stuff. And then right after that, they'll get like, those guys either signing or leaving the team, all that kind of thing. And then the guys that they've already recruited, already signed, hope that they're going to be on campus in the fall, those guys can sign. I mean, it's a really tough system for them. They've got roster numbers that are in the 35. They've only got about half of that in terms of scholarship. So they're always messing with like, how much do I give this guy? How much do I not give this guy? And then you got Major League Baseball coming in and giving $500,000. It's a tough business for those guys.
Howie, Darryl, let me hit the pause button just on this issue. If we talk about getting rid of the one and dones, and they were to adopt something like baseball has, where a kid has an opportunity right out of high school to go pro, or he's stuck for a couple of years and then he can go later, is that a formula that will work for basketball?
That is my preference. If you can go pro, LeBron James has no business going to college. Kobe Bryant, no business going to college. Julius Randle, no business going to college. Andrew Wiggins, but other guys who should go to college, they get their draft grade, whatever, they say go to college, stay for 2 years. Yeah. At least at that point you can get close to an associate's degree.
Now that's the difference. Baseball is a 3-year, and I don't see basketball ever going to 3 years, being stuck 3 years in college. That wouldn't happen. 2 is a very nice medium. I hope they get there. I know Cal's pushing that side of the argument really hard.
The Red and Blue Review, our home on the road this week, is Tim French Superstores.
They're hanging steel, and we're making deals here at Tim French Superstores in Elizabethtown while we're under construction. Brian, tell them about some deals.
We're the home of the Hot 100. That means we have over 100 cars priced at $250 or less per month right here at Tim French Superstores. Now back to you, Gary.
Kentucky's current crop of cats, the newcomers, ranked among the best they've ever had at Kentucky. The next class, 2014, is ranked among the best in the nation, and Mark Stoops says it all starts with one.
Players want to play with other great players. They see what we're doing. They see the plan that you lay out for them. They understand your commitment to winning, but they also want to know that there's other great players around them. And as you know in football, it takes an army. It takes a whole bunch of us to be successful. It takes a great commitment from a lot of people. So, I think that's part of it. The players want to feel that there's other great players around them. Our players did a great job of communicating with each other and building this class and making it special. And that along with the Big Blue Nation and the social media out there, our players felt that. They felt that on Twitter. They felt the support of our fan base. And, I want to thank them for that because that makes a difference.
You know what I love about how you introduced that clip? You never said the word football, and the whole time the audience is saying, oh, he's talking basketball. Best recruiting class, another best recruiting coming. No, it's football. How about that? We got to remember the incoming freshman for Kentucky's football program in a couple of months. That recruiting class was way above anything Joker Phillips had done in the previous 3 years. Everybody's focused on 2014, where they're sitting at number 1 in the nation right now. The group coming in now is really, really talented, and it's all, to me, so much because of Mark Stoops, Neil Brown, DJ. Those guys have connections. And they were trying to get kids to come to Florida State. Now they're getting, okay, come to Kentucky and help us build this thing. That works okay in the first few years. This has got to pan out so they can keep that momentum going. They'll be forgiven with 4 or 5 wins this year. It's got to start escalating pretty quickly after that.
Something that Mark Stoops said in that soundbite, and also an interview we had on a recent show with Neil Brown, that is the key to this Kentucky recruiting is social media. Yeah. Kentucky's figured out how to do it, how to really connect with this new generation of athletes.
Yeah, and they've got old school and new school covered because they've got the social media down. You've got a kid like a Drew Barker up at Connor, who not only commits, he's starting his own page to try to get everybody else to come join me.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about. Great players want to be together. You don't want to be the lone wolf who's going to go play for my university I love and win 2 games every year. You got to get some help, and that's what he's trying to do. The old school side of which I love is they're sending 100 handwritten letters to these kids who may not impress the kids a lot, but the parents are like, "Hey, wow, somebody still writes."
The kids probably can't even read cursive. they
Probably
don't teach them.
Good
What
point.
is this
Good
stuff? They
point.
get mom and dad to read them the letter. Well, Louisville's season to end all seasons has finally come to an end. The greatest year in probably U of L sports history, perhaps all of college sports history, is over. Tom Jurich says to duplicate that success next year, you got to have proper chemistry and great athletes.
You know, you look back at the Sugar Bowl team, same deal. You know, Charlie instilled a lot of winning attitude in them and a great chemistry across the board. Coach Pitino had the best chemistry probably he's ever had on a team. You know, Jeff Walls, all the injuries, and he played the whole season without 3 starters, but yet they were able to pull it all together, and they had fantastic chemistry, and then Dan does it again. And it's just when you recruit great kids with great character, that have wonderful attitudes, these things are going to happen. And, you know, talent plays a big part in it, but it's not all of it. Because I've seen a lot of talented teams around the country that go nowhere.
Take it from somebody who has covered these athletes all season long.
I think we've all seen extremely talented.
2 shots of Howie.
Yeah, how about that? I think we've all seen extremely talented teams that just didn't make it. You know, that just didn't go anywhere. That had all the pieces together and just didn't make it. I think it is chemistry. You've got to have leaders like a Teddy Bridgewater, like a Peyton Siva. You've got to have glue players.
Yep.
And I think Louisville's got that going forward. I don't know if they can ever duplicate what they did this year. Next year should still be good, but you know, for fans out there to say, "Oh, it could be even better next year," not so fast. They had a lot of really good glue players.
But the party will continue through football season because it's
Absolutely.
the worst schedule in the history of college football.
Well, we all enjoy criticizing referees, and before you get into it, you need to know some of the rules have changed for basketball. We'll go through that after Daryl tells us about the catch ball.
And one of my favorite days of the year, yes, it's available for pre-order. The 2013 football yearbook is on the way, be here early July. Pre-orders are already flying into our website. You can just visit shopcatspaws.com, 152 pages, full color. Talk to Stoops, talk to every assistant, player profiles. We've got it covered to start this new era. Shopcatspaws.com.
Hi, Tim French here for Tim French Superstores Elizabethtown. We're hanging steel and we're making deals. We also have over 130 cars at our Radcliffe and our Fort Knox locations. Hey, Brian, tell them about the Hot 100.
That's right, Tim. We have over 100 vehicles in stock priced at $250 per month or less, all ready for immediate delivery.
Stop by here in Elizabethtown and see us, or stop by Radcliffe or our Fort Knox location. You can go online at 765auto.com or just give us a call at 765auto because we've got an auto for you.
Today we're talking about the Politate. Food Network voted it the top pizza in Kentucky, and it is an International Pizza Award winner. Come down and try the Politate at Boombox Pizza, Westport Village.
To save more lives this summer, we've stepped up highway law enforcement. So, don't forget to buckle up, don't speed, and don't drive while impaired or distracted. Because this summer, we're going to have Kentucky completely covered. Blue lights across the bluegrass.
No excuses, no exceptions.
Welcome to the new Bachman Subaru. We have expanded our Subaru service, sales, and parts departments to serve you, our customers. Bachman Subaru has our best ever selection of all the new Subaru models, or get a certified pre-owned Subaru from our great inventory. If you already own a Subaru, we now have an expanded service area for those few times you do need service. Visit us today at Bachman Subaru. Bachman makes the difference.
Today we're talking about the Politate. Food Network voted it the top pizza in Kentucky, and it is an International Pizza Award winner. Come down and try the Politate at Boombox Pizza, Westport Village.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
What's your idea of fun? Whatever your idea of fun is, we have a park for that. Kentucky State Parks.
Welcome back to the Red and Blue Review. We've got what you want. Here at our Elizabethtown location and our Radcliffe and Fort Knox location, we have over 150 more cars.
Or you can visit our website, which is 351auto.com. Now back to you, Gary.
Thank you, Tim and Brian. I want you to know about the show, not only that we do here, but we've got one coming up July 10th that you'll want to be a part of. It's going to be at Buffalo Wild Wings in St. Matthews, and the servers that day are going to be young adults with Down syndrome. We call them Angels in Disguise. 10% of all the proceeds from that restaurant and all the Buffalo Wild Wings in the metropolitan Louisville area will all go to Angels in Disguise. So put it on your calendar. You got to eat somewhere on July 10th. Come join us at Buffalo Wild Wings in St. Matthews, and then they're going to follow that up with a big golf tournament July 26th. That will be played at Quail Chase Golf Course. To register for the golf tournament or to sponsor the event, go to angelsindisguise.org and we will get you lined up. All right, let's jump into it. Time for our Game Time storylines. The NCAA has announced some new sweeping changes in college basketball, and Cal says it's about time.
Well, I like the start, the charge block. I mean, you guys know what I've said. It's the most ridiculous thing. A guy goes to shoot a ball and a guy slides under, and they said, well, he was still, his little toe was still on the ground when he was going to shoot it, and that guy was now set. It's crazy. So the first step is that.
If you have followed me in the Cat's Paws or on Twitter, you know block charge irritates me to my soul. I despise it. I hate charge calls, period, because I don't think it's playing defense. I think it's cowardly defense. I can't guard you, therefore I'll stand in front of you and let you hit me. I hate it, period. But if they call this, and a big emphasis on if, then it's going to help a lot because the shooting motion has begun, tilts the edge to the offense, and that's the way it should be.
And if this new block charge thing is invigorated, Mike Krzyzewski may have to change his whole offensive game plan and defensive game plan because he can't do flopping anymore. At least that's what Mike Pratt hopes.
What I would ask in that regard is that not to make it so defensively oriented. I think you got to give the offense a little more. It looks like they're going to do that. A little more margin in there. Just to open the game up. I mean, there's a legitimate charge, then there's flopping. We all know that. So you got to avoid that flopping.
Yeah, I think this is good. It really, any kind of change that aids offense, yes, I'm all for.
Me too.
And it makes sense, too. If an offensive player is starting towards the basket, you can't slide underneath them. It makes complete sense. I'm definitely in favor of this.
One of the other things that should help the offense is what they call freedom of movement. Rick Pitino says this is a great idea that will help return some of the finesse to college basketball.
You have to have freedom of movement. If you just turn on the channel on ESPN where you see all the old games, you see people being able to make all these passes and cuts. You can't keep stopping freedom of movement on offense. You can't stop that. And the NBA has cut down on that. I've told you many times a story about us getting together to try and create more points, and they've done it. So it has to come from the head of officiating and the rules committees and saying, we are going to allow freedom of movement in our game. And we're not going to allow you to bump and grind the entire game.
I know what you're thinking, UK fan. I know what you're thinking. But Rick Pitino's teams foul on every play. They foul on every play because they don't call it that way. I mean, essentially, they come out with a set of rules every year that says, listen, this is the way we're going to call it. And Rick Pitino coaches right to the edge of that. I think what you're seeing is coaches like Rick Pitino are saying, I'd love to have more freedom of movement. I'd love to have guys moving around more, and you don't screen the cutters and all that kind of thing like you see Michigan State doing. I think he would like that, and as soon as you say, hey, this is how it's going to be, that's how he's going to coach.
Howie, there were times during the NCAA tournament that Luke Hancock is guarding someone on the perimeter, and he has got both hands on the guy. I mean, that's how much they were confiscated of movement in this current system.
Absolutely. Luke plays dad basketball. He just physicals you up and pushes you out of the that's his game.
Well, there are very few things that Rick and Cal agree on, but this new push toward freedom of movement is at least one of them.
And then the other step is calling the fouls. Just call them all. If a team wants a foul on every possession, call a foul on every possession. And then they go through a team, they'll play a game with 3 players. You start changing. Freedom of motion, it's important. You're dribbling the ball up the court and a guy hits you, now they're saying that's going to be called a foul. Boom, boom, I make a move and you boom me, that's a foul because you're my freedom of motion, movement. If I pass it and cut through the lane and you hit me, it's an automatic foul. It is us as coaches teaching and the officials making the calls and being held to that standard.
I just hope they do. One, it's got to be conference to conference. It's got to be consistent. It's got to be referees swallowing their ego and actually making these changes because they got to fix it. The game was unwatchable and is becoming more and more so every year.
The Red and Blue Review this week coming to you from Tim French Superstores. 3 locations here in the Hardin County area, but there's a location right in your home. All you have to do to go to your computer and dial in 351auto.com. You can see all of the merchandise on the lot, all the great deals at Tim French Superstores. When we come back, we're going to talk with Tim about some of the changes he'd like to see in college basketball. That'll be fun. As we head to the break, Howie's going to tell us about CardinalSports.com.
Absolutely. CardinalSports.com is your best source for all Louisville basketball, football, all that kind of thing. I want to send a note out to Luke Hancock. We're praying for you and your family in the death of his father.